in the game just to get my fatty. And these lazy ain't got competition. It's me versus me, love Keith.
So an event has happened that's actually got America kind of split in two when it comes to gun rights. So there was an illegal immigrant who actually got arrested and caught a case for having a gun, because you would imagine that illegal immigrants aren't supposed to have guns while they're inside of America, or at least they may have a process that they have to go through. However, a judge has dropped the case and pretty much signified that illegal immigrants are able to have guns and to protect themselves with inside of America. Now, a whole lot of people's like, hold up. What in the blue hell is going on? So that means that the felons should be able to have guns if the illegal immigrants can have guns. Well, I'm going to read y'all an article that actually talks about it, so y'all can decide whether y'all think and believe that illegal immigrants should be able to have guns or not, right? So it says, a federal judge in Illinois has found that the Constitution protects the gun rights of non-citizens who enter the United States illegally. U.S. District Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman, who was actually put into place by the Obama administration, on Friday ruled that a federal prohibition on illegal immigrants owning firearms is unconstitutional as applied to the defendant Herberto Carbajal Flores. The court found that while the federal ban is facially constitutional, there is no historical tradition of firearm regulation that permits the government to deprive a non-citizen who has never been convicted of a violent crime from exercising his Second Amendment right. So it's pretty much saying that, hey, in the past, we've never had the government stepping in to criticize or penalize anybody for, a non-citizen for pretty much having a gun. So why would we start that now? And that's why the case was able to be dropped. Now it continues and it says, the non-citizen possession statute violates the Second Amendment as applied to Carbajal Flores. The judge wrote, thus the court grants Carbajal Flores motion to dismiss. So obviously the case pretty much gets thrown away from there, right? It continues and it says, Coleman, a President Obama appointee, cited the landmark Supreme Court decision in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin 2022, which established a new standard to determine whether a law violates the Second Amendment. Since Bruin, a multitude of federal and state gun control measures have been challenged in courts with mixed feelings. In the U.S. case, U.S. versus Carbajal Flores, the court considered whether people who enter the country illegally can be banned from owning firearms. Carbajal Flores is an illegal immigrant who, on June 1st, 2020, was found to be in possession of a handgun in the Little Village neighborhood in Chicago. He was subsequently charged with violating a federal law that prohibits any non-citizen who is not legally authorized to be in the U.S. from possessing in or affecting commerce and a firearm or ammunition, or to receive any firearm or ammunition which has been shipped or transported in interest of foreign commerce. In an April 2022 decision, Coleman denied Carbajal Flores' first motion to dismiss his indictment. So he pretty much, the illegal immigrant that tried to get his case dismissed the first go around, they didn't let him dismiss it, so he had to continue it, right? But eventually, now that we're speaking today, it's actually been dismissed, which was a few years later. But it continues and it says, however, Carbajal Flores asked the court to reconsider that ruling following a Supreme Court's decision in Bruin and an appellate decision in the Third and Seventh Circuits that considered whether people convicted of nonviolent crimes can be prohibited with possession of firearms. So this guy, he will be remembered because he will now be recognized as the illegal immigrant that made it okay for the other illegal immigrants to pretty much possess a gun. And like I say, so he low-key just went down in history for them, right? And it continues and it says, upon review, Coleman concluded that Carbajal Flores' illegally present status was not sufficient to deny him Second Amendment rights. The judge said the plain text of the Constitution presumptively protects firearm possession by undocumented persons. Carbajal Flores has never been convicted of a felony, a violent crime, or a crime involving the use of a weapon. Even in the present case, Carbajal Flores contends that he received and used the handgun solely for self-protection and protection of property during a time of undocumented civil unrest in the spring of 2022. The judge wrote, additionally, pretrial service has confirmed that Carbajal Flores has consistently adhered to and fulfilled all the stipulated conditions of his release, is gainfully employed, and has no new arrest or outstanding warrants. So pretty much what it sounded like, so long as the citizen, the illegal immigrant that's actually having a gun, doesn't have a criminal record, a violent record, or a type of record that actually pertains to, like, doing something with somebody with a gun, shooting at anybody, any type of assaults or something like that, it does look like that they will be able to actually have a gun and be protected under the Second Amendment. Of course, the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms, right? It says the court determined that because there's insufficient evidence to suggest Carbajal Flores is a danger to society, there is no historical analog that would permit the federal government to deny him his gun rights. The court finds that Carbajal Flores' criminal record containing no improper use of a weapon, as well as the non-violent circumstances of his arrest, do not support a finding that he possessed a risk to the public safety such that he cannot be trusted to use a weapon responsibly and should be deprived of his Second Amendment right to bear arms in self-defense, Coleman wrote. Thus, this court finds that as applied to Carbajal Flores, Section 922G5 is unconstitutional. The ruling has divided the gun rights activists, with some arguing that non-citizens should not have rights protected by the Constitution. So that's definitely going to be an argument. I can see that argument taking place, because it's kind of like, okay, if you're not a citizen of the United States, why do you get the privileges and the rights of citizens that the United States actually get to get? If you're a non-citizen, if you come over here illegally, half of the people are saying, hey, well, more than half of the people are saying, hey, if you come over here illegally, you don't get the rights that legal people born over here get to get. There's people in the line that's waiting to get their papers and stuff so they can actually receive the rights. But, some people believe that the illegal immigrants are just getting rights and just, getting special treatment and stuff like that. And some people don't believe it. Some people's like, well, I mean, he should have the right to protect himself. But at the end of the day, that's a political issue, and it's going to be all up to y'all and, of course, what y'all believe. But it does continue. It says, in this underlying ruling, the Second Amendment community undoubtedly has mixed feelings, because while illegal aliens are most certainly not part of the people, everyone has a God-given right to defend themselves against violent acts and murder. Of course, the court wouldn't have to decide this question if Joe Biden and the Democrat Party would simply secure the border. So, like I say, this issue is always going to end up turning into some type of political issue. And when I say political issue, I mean a specific topic or situation where you're going to have certain people feeling this way about it, certain people feeling that way about it. It's always going to come down to the courts and what the courts vote on in order to see if it actually get passed or not, right? So you're always going to have people that hate it and some people that love it. But then, of course, even the people that love it and also the people that hate it, they can both agree that the border is an extreme issue that's actually happening in the U.S. right now. And if the border was actually fixed, or there was some type of proper protection of the border, that you wouldn't have to worry about whether this person is going to have a gun or not, because it'd be all perfectly flowing in. But at the end of the day, let's be real. Within American society, there's always been a class of people that are like, I don't want to say underclass, but I do want to say underclass, whether it's a slave class, that it once was a slave class. Now it's just an illegal class that they're still able to, at least they're able to get paid. The slaves weren't getting paid at all. They were just building and working and pretty much building up America. Now, the new class that some want to call the slave class, even though I don't, because they do receive money and they do get paid, and you're able to grow your family. It's just like first generation sometimes of illegal immigrants. And now you have that class of people that they have doing a lot of the work that a lot of the other Americans pretty much honestly don't want to do. And if a lot of the illegals weren't just to stop doing particular jobs, they say that many Americans wouldn't fill those jobs up. Now, how true that is, we don't know until it actually happens, or if it does actually happen, we'll see at that particular time. But like I tell y'all, this is always going to be an issue to where y'all are going to have to decide. Y'all are going to have to put y'all foot down and give y'all opinions of it all, even though y'all not the ones voting on it. In a way, y'all are, depending on which party you vote for. But at the end of the day, when something goes up to the Supreme Court and stuff like that, like this case went to like federal court, they're always gonna, like I say, go to the Constitution, and they're gonna end up deciding whether it is or not. And at this particular time, they have found it unconstitutional to not only take away the guns from illegal immigrants, but also unconstitutional to even penalize any illegal immigrants for having a weapon, right? So long as that it now this the language that it sounded like they were saying, so long as that illegal immigrant doesn't have any like criminal violent past or anything like that at all. Now, how would they be able to check the illegal immigrants' past or whatever? I don't know, because there are illegal immigrants that actually use other people's names, other people's social security cards. So I guess it's kind of like a slippery slope right there, right? Anyways, with all that being said, how do y'all feel about it though? Because personally, me, I only care about how y'all feel about it. Whatever they're doing in the outside world, it is what it is. I just like to read y'all comments and see how y'all feeling about it. Let me know something. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about this entire ordeal. I'm out.